Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear of that toxic cell. The bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all the toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all the toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic sound. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt.
What's up, my people? What's up? Yeah. Rahul Bat. Welcome. You know what I'm saying? My boy Ka. Bienvenido. I just wanted to come on here. Peace, mi hermano. Peace. Seventh Element Body Shop, also Bondo. My brother. And I got your message. Yes. You know what I'm saying? This is just yeah. This is just a little bit of battling going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just pushing back. You know what I'm saying? Being honorable, using integrity, honorable, and determination, sticking with it, just pushing back. You know what I'm saying? Now that let me stand up here a little bit. So I just wanted to, and I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to bring it on screen. I'm going to share it with you. I took a little break from my writing, writing my books and stuff like that. Been steadily doing that. So I took a break. Once in a while, my Facebook it stays on, and so I'm getting all these messages. Still on this post, and I'll show you the post. And it's not to, again, I don't want to put into negativity, anything like that. But I mean, you got to set the record straight. You know what I'm saying? You have to set the record straight. You got to be honorable, and you got to be truthful. And I'm hearing everybody out. And I'm going to address a couple of things. Let me first show you. Let me share my screen here. Let me show you what I've been looking at. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame. Here you go. I'm sharing my screen right now. Okay. This is to his brother. Okay. No, we don't have to mention his name, actually. I mean, it's right there. But this is what he feels. That much awaited live video on the Lions Den by Brother Khansu that was to expose Jabari Assassi as being a hustler and a scammer. Remember, this is Khansu going after Jabari. Okay. Not Brother Silos. I'm there to support Khansu. And no way that I say that Jabari is a hustler or a scammer. I don't dignify that. I don't call people out. You know what I'm saying? Unless they scam me. You know what I'm saying? If I gave them money and I feel that and they scam me or they hustle me, then I'll come out to you, your face, and tell you you're a scammer, you're a hustler. But I don't have no monetary exchange or no interest in joining any of Jabari's schools, whatever he calls his shrine, anything like that. That's just not my interest. So I'm not gonna dignify that. But like I said, I support my brother, and I sat back and I saw the amount of disrespect, saying that the disrespect and the unfairness that he was treated. The reason why sometimes I interjected, and I even came on Sonetta and I interjected it. You know what I'm saying? It appears to be nothing more than misguided emotion. Okay. and rant due to attack on his teacher, Dr. York, by Mark Hill. But let's get it right, okay? Now you say misguided, okay? That's your opinion, emotions, rant, attack on a master teacher, yes. And it wasn't just Mark, it wasn't what is it, Mark Lamont Hill. It was also Jabari, and it goes all the way back to when he had his discussion with Prince York, and he thought he was being all, cool. He thought he was being all like, yeah, because it was his house. I would have had much more respect. I wouldn't have done what Prince York. I definitely would have been like, this is a discussion that we got to have at another place. I can't have it at your own house because I don't want to disrespect you in your own house. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be able to speak freely. You know what I'm saying? But in his house, he said that he wasn't there to debate Prince Amun, Prince York, but it turned out to be a debate, and it seems like he was prepared. He had all the slides that he was showing, like in preparation. So you must have spent time in doing research and spent time on this. You was looking for this from the get-go. So stop it. Stop with the deception. So it seems to be clout chasing. Clout chasing? What? Come on. Sonetta is one YouTube that has such amount of subscription and streaming, but there's other, it's not, clout chasing. It's like he's so famous. I mean, please get off of that. He continued to call Jabari out for running him to debate. Yes, he keeps calling Jabari out because Jabari is a debater, right? And Hansu likes to debate, and he feels like, hey, debate me on certain things. You know what I'm saying? That's honorable. That's warranted. He said that Brother Hansu did not show anything to support that allegation as well. There's a lot of things that he showed. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it passed you. You didn't agree with it. You didn't know what else to say. I do feel that you was a little bit disrespected. I would have let you speak a lot more because that the brother Danielle, it was no, that was the other brother. The other brother that came on seems to be a little more, I could tell by the voice that he was a little more respectful and a little more, smart. But the whole video of evidence and anything sustainable sources was brought forth to support not one of his fallacious claims. Okay, we use these big words. What claims? What claims? All Hansu is doing is showing you the discrepancy in some of the teachings and the things that Jabari puts out. I've seen a lot of his videos, and I say there's a lot of discrepancy there. Okay, and so I have a right to point it out because, again, test the spirit to see if it's for real. Which is going to lead me to another conversation about the master teacher Malachi York. Only the subjectivity of his personal opinion, bias, and feelings. Okay, that's how you feel. Well, right now with this whole thing you're writing here, it seems to be your personal opinion, your bias, and your feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. You're going to be covering it further in the video later this week. Beautiful. Brother Hansu and panel failed to show how Jabari is a scammer on the Lions Den. Well, it wasn't really about that. You know what I'm saying? It was really the conversation when you look at the video was mainly for pointing out certain things like the Asombo. What is it? Asombo? I forgot the name of it. But also the priesthood. What kind of priest are you? What are you practicing? Asking you questions, man. Asking you questions. And you got to stand. You got to stand on your square. You know what I'm saying? So when you go look back into this, now I want to address something here. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems a lot of people start jumping on now. Now that suddenly they're they're scarred. They know a lot. I want to point you out, especially to this person here. He wants to explain what a risk is. Explain to me what a sham is. I know these cult teachings really good. Well, the cult teaching very good. Cult teaching very good. Okay. Explain where is risk. And he laughs. What is Nibiru, Glass City? Explain who lives in the underground cities and so on, so on, so. I wait for the answer, and I still got on my scroll from you Yorkites. Okay. First, let me explain something. You collected all these scrolls, so you read these scrolls because you know about risk. You know about the glass city. Actually, the glass city goes all the way back into the Ansar doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And it deals with the mothership that also Elijah Muhammad has spoke about. This is doctrine, okay? And if you go back into ancient time, you go back and back and back, you find this narrative of what they call extraterrestrial angels, the Elohim, of beings coming from outside, right? And coming in. You find this narrative all the way, since ancient time. You find it in many different cultures, you know. Dr. York exposed that. And then remember, you had to live around the end of the 70s. Well, in the 60s, you had Star Trek. But then in the 70s and 80s, hold on one second. In the 70s and 80s, you had a huge explosion. Excuse me one second. I'm sorry for the little disturbance, but when you look at in the 70s and 80s, I remember going to see Star Wars. I remember also in the 80s, Zachariah Sitchin, came out with the whole Anunnaki and those old books and those series that he came out with. I remember these things. These teaching, especially about the Anunnakis, and especially about risk, and especially about these teachings, which they say were ancient teachings, resurfaced, holy tablets, and a lot of it. Remember, at this time, even in the industry, the movie industry, you had E.T., you had Star Wars, Star Trek, the new forms of Star Trek, you had Battlestar Galactica. You had and then also books, Barnes and Nobles was saturated by these different books on these subjects about extraterrestrial life, you know, that sci-fi, that type of subject and industry. So remember, Dr. York is a publisher of books. So he sees what what's being influenced into the Nubian people, you know, because you see a crowd of people going, you see conventions popping out, and you go to conventions, you're seeing a lot of more Nubians in these conventions, and you're seeing a lot of this talks because they watch the TV shows. And this was in the 80s and the 90s, an explosion. So this man took the liberty to what? He took the liberty to actually write about this. So they talk about, oh, what about the Pickle Man? He wasn't the first one that came up with the Pickle Man. That was from a magazine called The Experimental. And what he did was expose it, and he put it on pamphlets, exposing this and letting you know this is that whole industry. He created another school of thought, which was the UFO school of thought, ufology, extraterrestrial, that even in the university, they were having discussions of this. At university, there were courses that you can take about ufologies and astrophysics. And so when a black man, a Nubian man, shares some information and puts his spin on it, and when he puts his spin on it, you know what I'm saying, as to expose, to educate the public, and says, hey, listen, this is, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I've been to some of those sci-fi those conventions in Jacobs Javits and Orlando. These conventions are huge. There's a lot of money spent in this. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was reading comic books back in the 60s, those comic books of Spider-Man, Superman was like an extraterrestrial. He came from and a world outside. This was saturating our people. And so when one of our own comes and put his spin on it and educate you on this, you have a problem with that. Now it's funny. Now it's cult. You see, it's an occult. But you don't look at these conventions, sci-fi conventions, Star Wars convention, where they have Star Wars, Star Trek, and all these Battlestar Galactica, all these conventions. You go there, and that's not an occult for you, huh? It's not. Again, reading for comprehension and thinking paradoxically. Okay, thinking paradoxically. This is a problem that we're having, and this is this is being exposed. We got to do better than this. We have to do better than this. So this person took the opportunity for a discussion about Kemet, which also in Kemet, in the Kemet, that civilization, there was talk of beings coming from outside the earth, beings coming in. Even in Kemet, there was these discussions. You know what I'm saying? When you read in some of the walls and some of the papyri, you know, there's always discussions about this. It's been happening in all the traditions in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Even amongst the Native American, even the Europeans, you know what I'm saying, had discussion. The Vikings have a lot of talk and documents that they, put together about extraterrestrials also. This is something that has, this is a phenomenon. This is in humanity, a phenomenon in humanity. So when one of our own uses that to educate so that we can find our place within that school of thought, find a place in there, put it together, make sense of it, you have a problem with that. See, I'm not the one. I'm not the one to be, because I'll give it to you. Because you see, this is when you live and you observe it. You see, I've been to the theater where the first time Star Wars came, the first Star Wars. And I'm a big follower of Star Wars. I love it. I love the entertainment. I love the concept and everything. And then when I look at some of the old doctrine and some of the stuff that Malachi Z. York exposed, I'm saying, wow, this adds up. This makes sense. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. You know what I'm saying? This inspires people. But you see, our people have a problem with that. They have a problem with that. They're gonna take one little thing like risk. Risk, to understand what risk is, for Razak providers, other providers, and a three sun constellation right now in NASA. Right now, they're charting. They have discovered, okay, a star system that has, and a planet that has 3 stars to it. 3 suns. You know what I'm saying? If the man is reading, the man is doing his deductive reasoning, the man is going beyond that imagination, the unseen to the seeing, and then using that imagination to bring the unseen to the seeing, the formless, and make it form, you have a problem with that. You can't stand to reason that. But here, as your brother, who is, by the way, getting sick over here, I'm sorry, at the sniffles. Over here, as your brother, I'm gonna always, I'm gonna think it out, and I'm going to share it with you, and then you're gonna let me know. Let me know. Does that make sense? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say, "Oh, no, that makes a lot of sense." Don't be afraid because another man has used his knowledge, his interest in publishing, and his knowledge to support himself, his family, a nation, to build a nation, to also support, to build a village. You see, I lived that. I lived in a setting, a village setting, Ansarullah, Jamiatu Ansarullah. I live in that setting with those books that were supporting us in a way. We were selling those books out in the streets. It was supporting them. We were feeding children and family with those books, of course, with other things also. But the books was one of the main economics for that community. To the point that when it's got all the way to the land in Eatonton, we really, there's a lot of stores was set up and the books was pushed, but not as much as we were Ansar. That was clockwork, man. And we created, you know what I'm saying? And we created and stabilized a very lucrative, a very stabilized economy based on that knowledge that we were able to, that the master teacher was able to grab from here and there, reform it. And this thing about plagiarizing, well, you got to look up the word plagiarizing. That's when you take somebody's copyrighted work. A lot of the books that Malachi rebranded and reformed were public domain works, were also by authors that were pen names that were public domain, ancient writings that they took and rebranded and reformed it to form their economics. So because one of our own does it, he's wrong? Come on, man. Stop the nonsense, bro. Stop it. You can't. They hurt. They're very, very hurt. Because again, you have to be careful. Don't disrespect somebody's master teacher because you're going to get pushed back by his followers. The man has followers to this day. And there's people still reading the doctrine, still reading those book actual facts and the master secrets. And they're asking for it and they're still reading it. They're hungry for more knowledge. And still the knowledge is being put out there. And books, there's parad, there's books in many cities. There's gatherings. And you're going to disrespect that? Come on, man. It's like me going to Utah and disrespecting the Mormons. The later saints. The latter saints, whatever they call them, the Mormons. All the Israelites. Me going to disrespect ISUPK. But even though ISUPK are very derogatory, they're very derogatory, very negative. But still, that's your doctrine, bro. Okay, just leave. Just try to be respectful if you want to gain that respect. But now, if you're gonna start all this bull crap, then bro, you're gonna get pushed back. Jabari has been known. He brought Mark Lamont Hill to Sanetta's couch. He brought him there. And when Mark Lamont Hill made certain gestures or certain statements about Malachi Z. York, he looked at the camera like, oh, did you hear that? It was comical. Comedy. Hey, listen. I'm not here to put my hand in no man's pocket whatsoever. You do what you want to do, whatever. But you're not going to do it to me because I know better. And when you start attacking a man, that is for, yo, check this out, man. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I want you to check this out. All right. Look at this. This is very interesting, and I'm gonna put it up. I gotta do this because you see, this is reality. This is reality, bro. Look at this.
And language in which we live by Nuwapu. So sit back and relax.
And this is
the
in 1997.
Of the United Nuwapian Nation of Moors.
Okay, now watch this. This is the procession of Osiris, or the procession of Asar Usir, whatever that means. Look at this. How are you going to compete, Jabari? How are you going to compete with something like this? Okay. This is a master teacher. He was able to manifest this and bring this experience to Nubians in Georgia, all Nubians in the West. Brings this experience, okay? And the procession of Usan, we see it, is every 30 years or 60 years, something like that. They show that they still have the power, the what they call the, in lack of a better term, Pharaoh, the power. Bro, come on, man. Come on. I'm waiting for it gets to the part. Now, this is in Eatonton, Georgia. Okay. This is in Eatonton, Georgia. This is the possession of Osiris. So, this is our own land. This is a procession. This is using Nile Valley culture. This is, just look, watch. And these are Nubians. Okay? This man has done things that you cannot. Man, come on, man. Come on. I'm not a follower of this. I just respect this. You have to respect this. You have to respect it. This is saying, wow. You see, I wasn't there, but my brother was there. He took pictures and videos. Jamal was there. That's the Sheikh Shahi that's just transition. He's blowing the horn. But I mean, yeah, there. I mean, these are Ansars coming from the school of Ansars, from Nile Valley all the way to ancient Kemet. Look at that. He's wearing the regalia of Asar. And they own land and built the pyramids. So how can you compare to that? And Jabari said, I'm not comparing to that. Well, you have to acknowledge that this man was able to manifest certain things about a science that you call Kemet. Well, we call it the Nile Valley science. He was able to manifest this. You can't do this. Stop it. But yeah, you want to say, oh, and let me tell you something. For those who say, oh, he's a child pedophile. For a child pedophile to do this, yo, man, then you have a lot of soul searching to do. Because you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't bring your people, unite your people on the one banner and bring them into this to manifest this. Look at it real good. Where's the manifestation of this? Jabari, and I'm calling out your name. And Sarnetta on 125th Street. We would have had all those stores brought out. You would have had a tremendous studio in there if that man was present and you would have approached that man. Come on, man. So, and you call him a child, but there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. You better than him, right? Yet he's able to manifest this. And my brothers and sisters were able to manifest this. And we were able to manifest stuff since the Ansar days. Oh. This is a procession. Also, the initiation. I can't. And you know what? Can't show you the initiation. And this is private. This is on private land. This is not in no Central Park and no park, Eatonton, Georgia, no park, public park. This is privately done in a private park. This is a gift to you, my people. This is a gift to you. This is what we were able to accomplish when we put things together and we respect. Because let me tell you something. It's true. In the early days on the Ansar, and Malachi said it, that he disrespected a lot of these teachers at the time because he was battling them back and forth, and he was calling them. But then he had the integrity and the honesty to retract that and offer an apology. He offered an apology to the Nation of Islam. He also an apology to people like Dr. Ben. He sat back and says, "Wow, wait a minute. I can't caught up in the way you're doing things. I gotta take a step back." That Dr. Ben visited this land right here. He visited this, and who knows? Maybe he was present here. I don't know. He visited this land. This was a gift. He can't take everybody there to Egypt, and we can't perform any of those rituals in that cemetery over there in Giza in Egypt. That's a cemetery plot. That's cemetery. Mommy, there's stuff buried under there. They're unearthing every day. That's a cemetery. But he brought you in here to the West, alive, in real time, y'all. This is the gift to you. And you have the audacity to dishonor this. And this is for you, Jabari. You have the audacity to dishonor that by playing your little journalistic historian narrative. Okay? You clout chasing when you met up with Mount Lamont Hill. You wanted that CNN clout, that MSNBC clout, that scholar, that PhD from Temple University clout. And yet, Mount Lamont Hill was once a Nuwaubian, and he knows. He offered an apology also. He knows better. He offered an apology. And that's great that the brother was able to do that. No one is telling anybody to follow. Nobody is telling anybody to become part of an organization. No one's telling you to do that. It's telling you to respect, acknowledge when a person has talent, just like you acknowledge Stevie Wonder. He has talent. Many different artists, Santana, many different scholars. Dr. Ben, Henry Clark, Professor Small. I acknowledge the man's wisdom. He came a long way. I seen what he done. Hey, I honor that. You have to acknowledge that. Baba Haru, I honor his craftsmanship, his craft work. You know? And if he wants to do all that comedic stuff and all that, what I call hippieism, that's on him. But still, his craft. I look at his craft work and I say, nobody's perfect. Dr. York wasn't perfect either. No, he'll tell you in a minute, I ain't perfect. Certain things that I have to work with. But in that all, you have to acknowledge a person's gift and acknowledge what they have accomplished. And especially when they share it with everybody. You know? That's all we're saying. You know? But Jabari, look, take a good lesson. You are going to disrespect that? You're going to call that a cult? That's a culture. See how those brothers are dressed, Ansar? They dress like that in the Nile Valley. In the Nile Valley, they're still dressed like that. And these brothers using regalia, that's our mystery. That's our school. That's a mystery school. They're Masonic schools. Those are his guards. The Mujai. And look at that man wearing and he was not the only one that wore that regalia. Because there was another possession that was done by I don't know his Kemetic name, but I knew him back then in the book room. Kabir from the book room. He was the brother that was in charge of the treasury and collecting the money for the books in the book room. There's pictures of him. Wearing that regalia and doing also the procession. Come on, man. Dr. Yoke wasn't the only one. Other brothers got to do this procession. But this was a gift. You know what I'm saying? This was to mark a time in your life that you were able to go on. No, I gotta. Oh. So come on. Be for real. Be for real. I hope these brothers are watching this. Come on, be for real. Things ain't perfect. Things ain't perfect amongst the Nuwapians and Sabians. Things ain't perfect. There's a lot of things that you know what I'm saying? But you cannot negate the amount of talent, the amount of manifestation that you witnessed since the 60s on and on and on. And even to this day, you can't neglect the fact that there are parar, there's bookstores, there's people getting together that just did a Z festival. You can't negate that. You can't do that. Nah. Excuse me, I gotta plug in my thing here and I can't even see where the plug is. No. So I'm gonna stay on here too long, but I'm just excuse me. I just hope that listen, don't come at me unless you're gonna come correctly. See, don't mention things and don't show yourself out like that. I'm letting you know. Those of you that are stuck on this whole extraterrestrial narrative, you don't understand that. You pick something because you don't understand, but you're the first. But you'll run out to see a Star Wars movie. I bet you are. You seeing the Ben what is it? Ben was it Obi Ben on Disney? Jeez, I can't even plug this in. What the hell? Oh man. Oh, yeah, Obi-Wan. Have you been watching that on Disney? I bet you are watching that, right? I love it. I watched it. Darth Vader and all that's entertainment. I bet you're the first to run to the movie and watch Star Wars or one of those extraterrestrial movies, right? Right? For real, man. Come on. There's a new movie out that the brother Jay Appeal, what's his name? That did the Get Out movie. He's got a new one about extraterrestrial. You know, criticize him for putting stuff like that out. Malachi Z. York was one of the first ones to write books on stuff like that. And yeah, this is what you want to do. Hold on a second. You don't understand that industry. That's a that's a money maker right there. That industry. And thank you. Your wisdom is closer to the truth than well, I don't dislike Jabari, and I know where Jabari is coming from that whole, university, Ivy League school, and because I see the way he does his presentation, whatever. Because remember, I was also a student at an Ivy League school, New York University, and I got a scholarship for the music. But the thing is that I've been playing music since I was 9 years old. So when I went to New York University with the scholarship, I was there teaching, and I had professors and teachers asking me about certain things about the way I play percussion, about the rumba, especially because I grew up around a lot of Cubans and playing rumba and certain African rhythms and stuff like that. So, I won a scholarship. I went to Evander Child High School, and under the vice principal, William Seltzer, he recommended for me to get a scholarship to get into NYU because I used to conduct a concert wind ensemble. I used to play flute. I used to play all the percussion, the timpani, and stuff like that. And I showed such a huge talent and interest in music. Any instrument I picked up, I was able to play. And so he said, man, you'll be a great, great candidate for the scholarship that they're offering at New York University. And so I went there for a couple of years. You know, I didn't finish, you know, I didn't complete my Bachelor of Arts there because for the simple reason that I started to play with bands and I started to, you know, venture out. And also I went to the Ansarullah University, which was a university. You know, we had classes. We had, you know, certain teachers coming from the East, from Morocco. My teacher was from Senegal. You know, and we were there studying, you know, the Quran and studying the doctrine because it was an institutionalized institution. So we were setting our own university, you know. And then when they went to Eatonton, Georgia, the same thing. There was certain schools, you know, mainly concentrated on the children, but it was schools, but having classes, you know. I greatly admire your knowledge and wisdom and would love to continue engaging instruction. Well, just log in, you know, just check me out when I do my live and stuff like that. Just now, I've been writing a lot and I've been, you know, this kind of like took me a little bit to another side, but I can bring it back together again. You know what I'm saying? To stick to those courses that I've been engaging in. You know what I'm saying? But listen, it's not that hard. I can recommend. I can recommend certain books and doctrine that will help us in putting our mind in order. You know what I'm saying? Because the mind, remember, the mind is a reservoir of ideas and thoughts. And wherever you put that ball of light, that consciousness at, it's going to light it up. But sometimes this mind is a pool of different ideas and concepts. So sometimes you have to put the pieces together. It works like a puzzle. You know what I'm saying? In this reservoir, these pieces are all over the place. That's the reason when you think, you're thinking thoughts here, you're thinking thoughts there, you know, it can get, you know, it can get crazy sometimes, you know, all these different thoughts. But then when you learn how to put it in order by what we call correct sound reasoning, a certain way that you connect those dots and connect it together, then you'll find that you're able to see things for what it is. And also it deals a lot with experiences too. I don't know how old you are, 7 Element Body Shop. I don't know how old you are, but if you lived through the 80s or 90s, you see the change. You see, I've seen us changing from analog, check this out, from analog to digital overnight. I saw that change. I saw us go from beeper to cell phone. At first it was the flip. They used to see on Star Trek, the flip, and was a radio frequency. They eliminated that and put us on the internet frequency. I've seen those changes firsthand. And I'm sure if you're that age, you saw it in the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, now in the 2000s. Now we're seeing a whole shift coming up with the metaverse. Facebook is pushing that metaverse, those goggles and that interactive thing that you see in that movie, Ready Player One. Check out that movie, Ready Player One. That's the future for what they're doing in Facebook. It's like soon we'll be able to put on some goggles and enter into a classroom setting, right? And see someone speak there in a podium, firsthand, right there in the metaverse. A holographic, a hologram of that particular person, and it could be you. You know, interacting. So we're going to see that, and you see what our children now are going to see, because they're now seeing the cell phone and the laptop. Wait until they start going to the holographic stuff. They're going to be able to see that. And they're going to be able to look back and say, I remember when we just had cell phones. I tell you, I remember when we had beepers. You know, I remember when we had the dial-up telephone. It was a luxury to have the buttons, but with the dial, the phone. Are you kidding me? You know? So that's experiences. So you're able to see those experiences. So I was able to see the doctrine, especially Malachi Z. York and his writing style and the doctrine make a change. And the different industries, he went from an Islamic, he went to a Hebrew doctrine, he went into the occult doctrine, right? He went into a very scientific doctrine. He went into Nile Valley doctrine. He went into a ufology, a UFO doctrine. You see these, you see it in real time, these changes. When you observe things. So experiences, and again, also experimentation. That's sound right reason. Experiences and experimentation. A lot of us, we experiment with different things. We experiment with different business ideas and this and that. And then finally, we grow out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's life. When you're able to observe that and put it together, then you create a sense of reasoning. It's become a circular type of thinking, not a linear, but a circular type of thinking. And we can go over that at another time. But yes, I mean, I appreciate everyone being here. I'm just going to let it go at that. But again, I want to say that, I'm so congested on this freaking AC. Again, man, the and it's okay, people are going to expose themselves and come at me with all these different questions and fine. But don't ask a question in a very cynical way, very cynical, and Yorkies. Don't do that. Just ask a simple question, my brother. Why? What is this whole thing about risk? Well, Nibiru, and why? Dr. York is not the only one speaking about Nibiru or risk or speaking about extraterrestrial. There's a whole big industry of that. Different culture speaks about that. He just brought it to the Nubian culture, the Black people and Hispanic people here, and brought it here to America. You know what I'm saying? Amongst us. Don't do that to yourself. Very cynical, I say, hey, I'm going to share with you certain information, and if you can put it together and tell me, oh, Silos, I like that, but it's missing this, it's missing that. You know what I'm saying? How can we do? You know what I'm saying? Let's build on that. Build on it. And as far as Jabari is concerned, if you don't like it, but first of all, you need to address Jabari. Tell him, Jabari, and you need to pull the coat. I pulled Dr. York's coat a couple of times, but I'm sorry, but I can't think like that. We can't do that. We can't do that. You know what I'm saying? They're not 7 elements. I had to pull his coat. No, that's not the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go back to this. You got to go back to Jabari and tell Jabari. And even Sanetta, why every time you mention Paulite or what is it, nature or three God or what is it, young fat? Every time you mention, they just want to be they're little Yorks, when they commit a crime, huh? When they commit a crime, you always come out of your face and saying that, It's like you got this, fixed in you, and that's a blockage in you. I'm not telling you to like the man and to worship the man and to follow them. I'm not telling you any of that. In ethics and moral, it's wrong to do something like that. Unless you are giving the person back their own medicine. You know? Wapi Sabian has not attacked Jabari like that. Never. As a matter of fact, I've seen it in that initiation that he showed public at the park that's on that film. There were Nuwaubians in there. You know that? There was an Unctwi in there. There was a Nuwaubian in there. There was even a Puerto Rican flag in there. Are you kidding me, bro? If you're a real Nuwaubian Sabian, that's not how you roll. No. And then you're just going to go out there and disrespect. And we got to pull your coat. I'm here to pull your coat. Sonetta, and I'm here to pull Jabari's coat. You're wrong. Sonetta, you're wrong for insinuating that I'm banging on you. Okay? Or that even I was banging on Jabari. I never call him a scammer. Never call him a hustler, any of that. I never even mentioned your name. Look at the damn stream before you talk and speak. You know what that is? Hearsay. That conflict between me and you, we got to expose the other person. And I think I know who did it. Went to you crying. Oh, man, so no, you see what they said about you, Jabari. Oh, my God, they went on, the lines down. That's what happened. A hearsay. That dude, ese muchacho con el bonchinchero. When you can just watch it for yourself and you would have seen it. But for you to write me a text the way you wrote it to me and then don't even call me and tell me you have to write a text. Oh, that's some suspect shit. That's some sissy stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's sissy. Because you know you're wrong. I hope you watch the whole footage. And you're gonna see, damn, I don't know if you were ever admit. Oh, I was wrong, man. Man, CeeLo never said anything about me. CeeLo didn't even really say anything about your body. He dealt with the information. The information. I did mention that, the timeline. That this is what happened. This is where it happened. I did do that. Let me read. Brother George. Yeah. Well, yeah. Shout out to my brothers that follow that whole Israeli paradigm and school of thought. My heart goes out to you because in one breath, they will praise you, and then the other breath they will slam you. But you see, that's that channel. That's the way it gets down. That's his go-to ways. You know what I'm saying? So you can't fault that. That's the way he does things. You gotta move out the way. You know what I'm saying? You gotta move out the way. But you gotta see it for what it is. You have to see it for what it is. Jabari, man, I like the fact that he's, it's not easy going to school like that and scholar and has businesses and a home. And that's all great. You know what I'm saying? And then, but to actually call yourself a priest and as a priest to make derogatory statement about another master teacher. I didn't know priests do that. I did not know they did that. And if they did that, then they have to also, by what measuring rod they use, they also have to put it upon themselves if you're a real priest. And if you're a real priest, and when it comes to marrying and stuff like that, you don't have to be a priest to marry people. That's one of the statements that I told my sister's of Notary Public, and she can marry people. You know what I'm saying? So out of that, and a lot of that information, maybe Jabari have some rare books and certain other information that he could bring out to the forefront. Matter of fact, great, bring that out. But so far, everything that he has stated, everything that he had put out there, is stuff that you can Google. and find a lot of that information. Yes, the truth will set you free, but some people don't like to be free. They're so used to being, complicit. They're so used to being chained down. Yeah, yeah. And that's what it is, man. Once you understand how natural nature works and your own nature and the origin of things, the laws that it applies to it, man, you on your way, man. You're doing good. You know what I'm saying? And you listen, like I said, I'm not putting my hands in pocket. Hey, if he wants to charge $4,500 to become a priest in 3 years, hey, wow. I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry. I think I could take that money and become a scientist and go to some university, an accredited university, and become a scientist that deals with applied sciences. You see, I teach a lot about applied sciences. 7 Elements, Body Shop. If you look at some of my latest stuff, I'm going into the applied sciences because I feel that our youth should be taught these sciences. Dealing with Wi-Fi technology, what is it called? Wireless technology, and dealing with the applied sciences of things, also economics, applying the sciences of accounting, bookmaking, and stuff like that. Applied sciences. I'll take that 4,500, man. Yo, that one semester, at the time I was going to NYU was about 45,000 for one semester. That's just one semester. You know what I'm saying? Very expensive. But you can take that money and put it towards your other education that deals with applied sciences. I don't see, by you becoming a priest, is that applicable to what? What is that applicable to? Yes, applied science is critical for the future. We're leaning too much to the speculative works, a speculative knowledge, that we're forgetting about the operative knowledge, those applied sciences and stuff like that. Yeah, I've dealt with the speculative knowledge. I'm a mason. I dealt with speculative masonry, but I also dealt with operative masonry as a carpenter and a cement layer and cement refinisher. I learned that. That's applied sciences. I can actually take mathematical equations and put it into MicroStation or AutoCAD and come up with a plan to build an edifice, a building. That's applied sciences. Yeah, applicable to scriptures. A script? Really? A script? When you look at the word scripture and script, that this is scripted by pens of men, there's no applied sciences there. It's only speculative. You know what I'm saying? You can build a church, but you know what? You're still going to need bricklayers. You're still going to be an architectural, an engineer to build that church. Yeah, you're still going to need that. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. But listen, I don't hate anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's got to take a lot for me to hate somebody. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I gotta pull your coat. I gotta pull Sanetta's coat, and I gotta pull Jabari's coat. Why? Because they're not being honorable, and they're not dealing with integrity. They're disrespecting a master teacher, a person that has followers, family and followers and businesses. And bro, come on, you really? Come on, man. Okay, this one. Hold on a second. Yeah, they always want to charge you, right? And I also speak to people. I've been part of Sufi. As far as the Ansar, the Sufis, and AEO, which I answer. Again, Ayo was the answer to the fraternity, Greek fraternity that was practiced in the university. So Malachi Z. York said, well, we're getting a lot of university students. You can form your own fraternity, dealing with your own culture, not the Greek culture. You can pledge to a Kemetic culture. So he came up with Ayo and the lessons of Ayo. You know, they just don't know. They don't understand. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here to share that with you. Again, not to make everything so kumbaya and perfect, because it was not perfect with Dr. York at all. A very difficult man to be around. I played basketball with him. Are you kidding me? He'll be the first one to fucking elbow you. Are you kidding me? I'll knock you down just to get that basket. Are you what? Are we roller skating? We're running around Brooklyn, Bushwick. You know what I'm saying? Bro, it's a man. You know what I'm saying? Talking about women. Yeah, it's a man. You know, everything is not perfect. But don't negate the accomplishment and the manifestation that we were able to bring forth by unity. You can't negate that. And we got the key to do that. And that's what I'm saying. These brothers don't want that. It's very suspect. They don't want it. You know? Jabari had pointed out that he had books, Ayo books, and his room, Ayo books standing right there on the line. Yet, would you tell your students, hey, yo, check out this book. It's an Ayo book. Check out this and that. Or, you know what I'm saying? Check out that now. He would never do that. Yeah, hit the Cash App. Yeah. But you know, you can't hate that and fault the guy, but yeah, he's more that's a form of income for him. You dig? That's a form. And there's nothing wrong with that. YouTube, it's a stream of income. You know what I'm saying? But what I observed is that for that bag, he will create a very dangerous environment for that bag. That's dangerous. That's why they call him the Don King, because Don King did to say, you know, put two fighters together for that bag. It's a dangerous environment. Somebody gonna get really, really hurt. And I love boxing because I love the art of boxing and stuff like that. But still, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's a sport. It is what it is. You know? But you see, yeah, the Cash App and now the membership and this and that. But you know, and you know, once in a while he'll come out with certain information. You know, certain people he'll bring on there and it brings about certain information, and that's cool. But yeah, the main premise, the main event is that putting a clash or putting, and they say, oh yeah, you know, because that's the way we bang it out. That's what we do. Well, we bang it out, but that's not truth. Truth is all the pieces of the puzzle fitting perfectly together. When they don't fit together, they clash. That's lies. That's not truthful. That's falsehood. You know, we're able to put the Israeli doctrine with the Islamic doctrine, bring it back into the Abrahamic doctrine, to bring it back into the Sumerian doctrine, to bring it back into the Kemetic doctrine. We're bringing back into we're able to put those pieces together. That's truth. When you're able to do that. But when you have it clashing with one another, right? And separating it and clashing, that's not truth. That is not, by definition, truth. By explanation, truth. It's just not. Those pieces got to fit together. So I'm able to speak to my Israelite brothers. I'm able to speak to my Islamic brothers. I'm able to speak to my Sabig brother. I'm able to speak to my Christians. I'm able to put those pieces together. That's truth. That's when you know you're getting the hang of it, and that's truth. You put those pieces together. It fits like a puzzle. Fit perfectly together like a puzzle. But when you put against each other, bang, 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 and this don't fit, nah, that's falsehood. That's what I observe. They're dealing with a shadow self. They manipulating the shadows. And I tell my brothers and sisters, okay, if you're going to manipulate the shadow, but you get back to the light or the enlightenment self, you got to balance yourself. Get away from that shadow. Understand that shadow is the art of deception. You see, that's one thing I learned about Malachi Ziyor, the art of deception. He taught me how easily we're deceived by all these different schools of thoughts. That I look at him now like, oh, wait a minute. Momento. Ay, Dios mío, un momento. Man, that's deceptive. You're trying to lure me. Yo, that's crazy, isn't it? He come showing us the art of deception. He told you that already. Don't believe me. Check it out. I can deceive you because I'm giving you knowledge to deceive so that you're gonna learn from being. Bro, check out Circle of Iron. That Bruce Lee wrote that. Circle of Iron. Read the story of Melchizedek in the Quran with Musa and Echidra, the green one. Those are lessons. It shows you the art of deception. Melchizedek, Zadok, deceive. Angels can deceive you if you're not careful. Yeah. You're for the people, but you want to charge people to bring forth. Yeah. And the thing is, well, sometimes, to be honest with you, Seven Elements, sometimes, you're not charging people. There were offerings that were made to certain institute in school. Even when you go to schools, it's considered offering. There was certain offering because when you offer certain things for a good knowledge, you give it a worth. But the thing is, I understand you. The thing is, he's asking for money and stuff and bringing this information it's all lies. It's falsehood. It doesn't add up. It's not going to bring people together. You're for the people. You want to unify the people, or maybe you don't want to unify the people. Maybe you deal with Satak. That's the story of Asar wanted to unify the 14 tribes, where Satak wanted to disunify them and wanted them to keep their own gods and stuff like that. Well, Asar wanted to put them all together. So it's not a question who's right or wrong. It's just a different perspective, a different way of dealing with life. You know what I'm saying? That's when again, if I have a discussion with Jabari, where are you getting that from? Brother, you got to think out of the box. You got to look at these stories and you got to think out of the box. And you got to say, oh, wow, wait a minute. This is applicable to this day. To this day. There are organizations there that are fixated on keeping us divided and conquered because it's more profitable for them. And then there are organizations out there that wants to unify people because it's profitable for them. You know what I'm saying? It's just which side of the coin you're dealing with. I'm not just an observant, but I can roll both ways when it's beneficial. You see, I give it the touchstone of positivity when it's more beneficial for us as a whole humanity. As a whole humanity, not just for my group, but as a whole humanity, certain sacrifices got to be made. Yeah, it is deception. That's one thing I learned from Sovereign Grand Commander Malachi Zadok Kabina York. It's the art of deception. So all those years, almost 45 years I spent in that school, in observing and learning and reading learning and observing. That's what I learned. The art of deception, how easily we are to become deceived. Deceived. And when you notice that and you approach this man and you see it and he looks at you, he smiles. He's like, finally, you got it. You know. So he ain't gonna mess with you. He gonna be like, yo, thank you. Someone out there knows. There's many of us like that. Many of us. We're easily deceived, man, by a lot of these speculative narratives. Easily becoming deceived. And so when we understand that, or we overstand, we stand to reason that, then we get to see that, hey, okay, I appreciate the man because, hey, he's teaching me about the art of deception. I appreciate that, Thank you. It's like, you fool me once, but you're going to fool me twice. You're going to trick me once, you're going to trick me twice. Or 3 times, then I'll be a fool. I know now. I know how I have to move, and I know how we collectively have to move. You find out, yeah, I don't know. And thank you very much for appreciating that. Thank you very much for appreciating that. And, there's a lot of things that I need to learn, a lot of things that I wrestle with, and a lot of things that I got to learn, be for real, But hey, I do my best. I do my best whatever I have to do, man. I just do my best. You know what I'm saying? I just make sure that I'm not hurting anybody. You know what I'm saying? But it's like this. I hope that my words and my involvement don't hurt people. And I know that there's a lot of Jabariites, just like you say Yorkites. I say, well, Jabariites. I know that there's a lot of people that roll and they rock with Jabari. And when and it's kind of crude to tell them, man, you paid $45. Oh man, you could have went to Google. This and no, you're being scammed. People don't want to hear that. People don't want, especially me. I don't want to hear that. Just the other day, I was trying to get into some type of business, and I got shut down by my brother telling me, no, man, that's a scam. Don't do that. Bye-bye. And I'm thinking like, man, this is an opportunity for me to create another stream. No. Shut you down. You know what I'm saying? People don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But they get over it. Jabari is going to get over it. And I hope one day I'm able to speak to Jabari and tell him, listen, if you're going to claim to be a priest and you're going to pick up that spiritual mantle, right? Spirit is in the word inspiration, aspiration, and inspiration, right? And you're going to perform these rituals to inspire people. Part of the ritual is not bashing other master teachers. No, that's not part of the system. Yeah, he teaches 4,500 for his teachings in Kemet. Yeah, in Kemet and stuff like that. Not actually the Bible, but a lot of you can Google a lot of stuff, about Kemet. And there's a lot of books out there. A lot of Budge, William Budge. I think there's a lot of books out there that you can read. One thing I know that the man is we like to read. I like to read a lot too. But the thing is not what you know, but it's how, how you use it. What you know is how you use it, and who is it benefiting. But for, like I said, $4,500, man. I mean, that's kind of like, man, that could pay for a semester of school. That can help you for books. You could get school stipend and stuff like that. That can help you for books. You know what I'm saying? For you to learn some type of applied science. Investing in something like speculative like that, investing in that type of knowledge, It's just, what are you going to do? What? How's it going to benefit? Maybe it's that person that like to walk around with an ankh. You get an ankh that's easily made by Baba Haru. You can buy one of those ankh from Baba Haru. You got the money and walk around with an ankh and walk around, and you can marry people. You walk around with an ankh. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know what benefits are you going to gain by going into that? Right. They're not really secrets. Those rituals that the ancient Kemetic perform are not to be performed today. Today will be out of character and will be against the law. Trust me, against the law. I could go, bro. We could go, and we've been schooling that. A lot of those rituals that they practice in ancient, and especially in Kemet, which is a certain area, not in the Nile Valley, but just in that area of Kemet, a lot of those rituals you can't practice those rituals today. You cannot. There's a lot of rituals that are practiced in India that's kept in India sacred. The tantric, those rituals that you cannot practice here in the West. You will get in a lot of trouble. You know, you will get locked up. You go against the law for a lot of these rituals that were practiced in ancient time. Because remember, it was different then. A lot of things that are practiced in Ifa, a lot of things that are practiced. For instance, a lot of these people are practicing animal sacrificing online, and then they say, "Send me money," and they sacrifice all the blood and the animal until. That's really against the law because that's animal. There's certain organizations, animal cruelty, certain laws that protect animal rights. You know what I'm saying? So gotta be careful. A lot of things that are practiced ritually are not to be practiced in today's time. It have to be in a controlled environment. That you have control of that environment. It has to be a sacred spot for those initiations. So the initiation of rituals that Jabbar is practicing in a public park are really not ancient rituals the way they're really practiced in ancient Kemet. No. The ritual that you see that I show with the procession of Osiris was a controlled environment. That was a ritual, but it was a controlled environment. But you didn't see the preparation for those rituals, right? You will be like, oh, it will raise some questions. You didn't see it, okay? And the aftermath, you're not gonna see it because those are sacred rituals for the preparation. Then the procession is that walk to show that I still have the power. You know what I'm saying? And then it's in a controlled environment. That was the Wapians' acres of land. That was in their settings. They could practice that. You can't do that in a public park. So the stuff that he did in a public park, rituals initiation or that initiation was really a soft touch, a more condensed, soft touch of ritual. It's not an ancient ritual, because if you go into the ancient rituals, trust me, hey, you're gonna have a lot of questions. It's like an Ifa. There's certain things that I just came from playing something for Ochum, because I play percussion. So I was with Okanilu, my godfather Okanilu in the Yoruba religion, and we're playing. I'm playing Shekere, and I posted on. It's on CeeLo Musical Chronicles. You can check it out. And but there's rituals when the orichas come down. The person gets possessed by some oricha, and it's all right. And you got to bow down, do things. Then there's a section where they have to perform certain things in order to send the oricha back. If you don't have Santo, right, you cannot be present. You have to leave the room. You have to go outside. I don't have Santo. I had to go outside while they prepare that, or if that's their way, that's their ritual. It's sacred. That's sacredness. Okay? That's how you do things. I'm sure Jabari has a lot of things that he does like that with his students in the shrine that are sacred. But what he displayed with Sa Neter, that's not at all sacredness. The part that you see in the Wapians doing that processional walk, that's not a sacred ritual. That was for the public to see. That was for the public. Yeah. So that was the difference. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll be real with it. I'll let you know in a minute. You know, you're seeing a for the public to show that I still got the power for the public, but there was rituals that were before that you're not going to see, not going to be filmed. Same thing in Ifa. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's rituals in Christianity in Vatican City. You know, you're not going to see the inner sacred. You're not going to see that because that's secret rituals. You know, but a lot of these rituals, you got to be careful with it. They're going to test your honor. They're going to test your integrity, and it's going to question your values, morals, and principles. You know that? It's going to question it. Yeah, the great mother goddesses. Yeah. The feminine energy is very powerful. But remember that if you deplete the masculine energy, you're going to deplete also the feminine. If you deplete the feminine, you deplete the masculine. They work together. So, the great nature is both mother and father. Both God and goddesses. It's both. Some people like to lean more to the goddess. Some people like to lean more to the God. Patriotic or matriarch. It's both. That's Nile Valley. It's both. And in Nile Valley, when you deplete one, you deplete the other. You know what I'm saying? It's a balancement, a perfect balancement. But I feel you, yes. Yeah. They did switch the role. You know what I'm saying? Well, what they did, they depleted the feminine, and then therefore they depleted themselves in you. They depleted the masculine energy within you by depleting the woman. Right? And then when they deplete the man, a lot of these feminists deplete the masculine energy, they deplete their feminine energy at the same time. Because this is working perfect balancement. That's nature science. You see, that's something that I share. Or you can say teach, but I share. I share that with everyone, that particular nature science. And is it applicable? Yes, it is applicable. It's applied sciences. Because at the same time, you could take all that masculine energy and you could transform that into negative charge and positive charge. You deplete the negative, you're depleting some of the positive. You could look into electricity for that. You can look into gravitational and levitational pull, gravitational. That balancement. And then when you start applying it to electricity, to these forces, these devices, it gives you a sense of what to look for, inspiration, what to look for, and how to balance that forces of nature. So it is applied. The Nile Valley Sciences, it deals a lot with applied sciences. You see a lot of pictures with a lot of the so-called, a lot of the goddesses, Isis, and you see Usa. You see it with that staff. A lot of that is dowsing, because they were agriculturists. They dealt with agriculture, so they were dowsing for water. A lot of times, they also a tuning fork at the end of it. They were tuning the energy of the body because they understand about tones and frequencies. That's applied sciences too. They call it kinesiology. People study that. And then when they study that, there's a prerequisite that they study about devices, laser devices, medical devices that are being formed, and that's going into medical stuff and dealing with those forces. That's the other part of Imhotep they don't tell you about a lot of the when he was dealing with a lot of forces. Bruce Lee was big on electrical forces too, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, all in blessings. Get out of here. Watch me a movie or something, and have a great night. Have a great night. Watch me a movie, lay back, and I'm sure I'm gonna hear it again, but I'm gonna try not to pay attention to it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Try not to say anything because like I said, people come out here and they just I don't know. They say things, but again, I'm just gonna give it to you raw, man. I'm gonna give it to you truthful. And if say something that if you want to, and it's not a challenge, don't try to challenge me because I don't do good with challenges. You know what I'm saying? Don't. I mean, if you want to challenge me, let me know. Say, look, I'm going to challenge your knowledge. I'm going to challenge what you know, what you feel about that, and this and this and that, and that's it. But don't try to mock me, or don't try to be cynical. Say, ha ha ha, Yorkites and this and that, and start this derogatory, ad hominem, what they call ad hominem. All these hasty generalizations. You see, I know a lot about logical fallacy because I study writing. I study in the writing courses at university. You have to learn about logical fallacies. Jabari should know this. He uses it very, 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 very slick. Anyway, buenas noches. Yes, man. Yeah, man. I'm glad you appreciate it, man. I'm glad, and I would like to hear also what you one day will have to say and build. You know what I'm saying? Because that's that affinity. When you establish that reality, that affinity, that's communication. And I love to communicate with my brothers and sisters out there. Okay, so anyway, all in blessings, man. Amor y paz. Te quiero mucho. Ciao.